this week's episode of Assassination Classroom, Nagisa and Karma have an epic battle like something out of Thunderdome. 2-man and a 1-man leave, and it looks like Class 3E is going to space! Honestly, what can I say about this episode? It featured some of the best action and fighting choreography that we've ever seen. We got Nagisa and Karma, two best friends fighting each other with every single thing they have. Nagisa wants to save Koro-sensei, Karma wants to kill him. They each feel it's the right thing to do, and yet they also have something to prove to one another. Aside from all of the amazing action in this week's episode, what I really appreciated was actually seeing the backstory and seeing how far both of these characters have come. I also really like the fact that we get to see how much Karma has actually underestimated Nagisa, and how even at the beginning of their friendship before his formal assassination training, Nagisa was a pretty creepy dude. There's this one scene where they're hanging out at this McDonald's ripoff, and Karma is trying to find Nagisa. He can't see him anywhere, when suddenly Nagisa is right behind him, he pokes him in the back, and I love the visual imagery of it looking like a sword that's actually going through him and impaling him. He was that freaked out when he saw it, and that's when he realized the true raw potential that Nagisa had at that point, although they still weren't equals quite yet. And then you have Nagisa, who always looked up to Karma, and that's because he always did things his own way, skipping class, being a badass, beating up bad guys, even though that's not something that Nagisa himself is really into. He never really wants to get into a fight unless he unfortunately just is forced to do it, or he has to defend against a friend. And then finally, after all of this training, after a full year of becoming a fully trained assassin badass, they end up having a hand-to-hand knife fight, which is so damn brutal. I love it. The choreography, all of the twists, not to mention that amazing scene where Nagisa actually ends up winning by putting Karma in this amazing block, which actually ends up like completely just incapacitating him. He can't even pick up his knife to stab him. It's such a great scene and handled with a lot of gusto. Really, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time watching this fight, and I was almost convinced that maybe Karma was gonna win. There was a scene where Nagisa was on the ground after getting the crap knocked out of him, and I honestly thought Karma was going to come over, beat him, and they were going to make the ultimate decision to kill Koro-sensei. But you never know what a sleeping dog is going to do. Let sleeping dogs lie. Nagisa was a pissed-off pit bull of ridiculousness when he jumped up into Karma and just completely put him in this amazing lock, which just cut him off. It was such a satisfying scene. And what's even more crazy is that after the battle, Karma just immediately agrees with Nagisa. He's so impressed with his abilities that he is going to go along with him and actually trying to save Koro-sensei. How are they going to do this? Well, make sure to stay around after the credits of this week's episode, as it looks like they're going to space. They actually found out that there's this American space station, which is getting ready to send this information down to America, which has all of this special info about how to actually take down the antimatter cells, which could actually help them in preventing Koro-sensei from completely destroying the entire planet. The thing is, they're going to have to intercept it, and the way they're going to do it is with this secret rocket that they found in Japan, so who'd have thought that the students would end up going into space? All I know is this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. However, there is a good chance that they are going to be intercepted by some of the villains in the series. Case in point, we might get to see the return of Shiro, and maybe even his brand new mysterious accomplice. All I know is I'm excited. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Assassination Classroom? It was freaking great. Fans of Nagisa, fans of Karma are absolutely going to love this episode. They're effectively the default characters of the series. They're so opposite in every way, and not just in the blue and red hair color. The way they do things, the way they carry themselves, and yet they still manage to be best friends. They're the ultimate yin and yang characters. Naruto and Sasuke, Goku and Vegeta. You know what I'm talking about. They are just perfect together, and even after such an amazingly brutal fight, I love that this actually brings the classroom even closer together. They can see how strong Nagisa's conviction is, and how far he's come from being the runt of the litter to end up being the biggest badass in the entire classroom. It really has shown how far he has come, and it's even more surprising how, even in the past, he had so much potential for this type of stuff. I really liked all of those flashbacks quite a bit, especially when Karma got into the fight with those bullies. That was so awesome how he threw his bag up in the air and then just ended up punching this one dude who he already beat up earlier and then jumping on top of this other guy and just wailing on him and really looking like he was having a fun time doing it. Really, this was just an action-packed, really fun episode of Assassination Classroom, which also has a great build-up to where we're going to be going as we get closer and closer to the finale of the final season. This week's episode also looked really good doing it. All of the fight scenes between Nagisa and Karma looked really good, super fluid, and it wasn't just a bunch of random punching. There were a lot of really good, convincing martial arts moves in this episode, and fans who like really well-done action scenes are totally going to dig this episode right here. So, fantastic episode of Ass Class. I'm giving this one right here a 5 out of 5. The last couple episodes have just been absolutely perfect in my opinion, and really are showing the true strengths of Assassination Classroom. I'm not saying I didn't like the previous episodes. I do like spending time in the classroom and hanging out with all the various students, but it's just really hard to compete with all the crazy stuff that's going on right now. So another awesome episode of Ass Class. Make sure to check it out, Assassination Classroom fans. You might see something you like. But if any of you did watch this week's episode, why don't you tell me what you thought about it? What did you think of the battle between Nagisa and Karma? Are you disappointed that Karma did not come out on top? What did you think of Nagisa's skills and getting to learn about more of the history of him and Karma? And what do you want to see from the finale of Assassination Classroom? Please tell me in the comment section below. You guys are so freaking kick-ass. Thank you for watching this review. I really appreciate it. If you would like to help support the channel, maybe smash that like button. Maybe share this video with some friends. Maybe you could subscribe to the channel. That way you'll see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. Not to mention our weekly podcast show, and you should check out all of our cool links in the description box below as well. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.